So we're celebrating 14 years of marriage this week, and I think there's something about anniversaries that just cause you to kind of look back from the beginning and think about how it's gone and what has led you to where you are now. And we've realized that we've never really shared that story. We've never really shared how we got here, how we got on this homestead and doing what we're doing now. And so we're going to share that story of from the beginning to now, how we got to where we are, and just a little glimpse into life on our 5 acres.
So just to frame this discussion a bit and some of the big life decisions that ultimately factored into who we are and where we are today. So going back to even before we were married, we were both in college. I was a senior, Joel was a junior, and we were dating at the time. And I had the task in front of me of figuring out what in the world am I going to do after college? What's my career going to be? And so I had 2 options before me. One was to take kind of the standard job that was in my field, and I had a couple options on the table with good pay and benefits, and one of them offered like a $2,000 signing bonus, and things were looking really great there. And then on the other hand, I had the option of joining staff with the campus ministry that we were both a part of in college. And so I was processing this day and night, trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life. And I remember going to Joelle one day and kind of asking for her input on it. And what I got back was basically an ultimatum. And she said, "Jim, if you take the standard 9-to-5 job and go that route, I probably will not marry you." Black and white, crystal clear. That was that. And so anyways, so ultimately what ended up happening was I chose to join staff with the campus ministry and go that route. I think that's where I was leaning anyways, and that's really what I wanted to be doing. But that really set us up for 2 things in kind of our life and ultimately then our marriage together after that. Was first, it caused us to believe that we can do hard and unconventional things in life, that we could make decisions that kind of go against the grain of society around us. And then number 2 was it taught us how to live on little, with little money and little salary coming in, because we were not making much on staff with this campus ministry. And so those two things really set us up well for life and marriage.
Well, and just to be fair, it's not like, so if Jim had been excited about the jobs that were offered to him, if he was really passionate about his, construction management and those things, I would have said, like, go for it. But I did not get the sense that he was really excited about the jobs. I got the sense more that he felt like he should do it, and he was excited about the pay and the benefits. And so I think I was more just like, well, I don't want to live my life based on other people's expectations. Like, I really want to live out my values, and that was really important to me. And so that was kind of, I don't want to put down standard jobs. Standard jobs can be fine if it's a thing that you are excited about. But if it's like you're miserable from 9 to 5, then that's just not something I wanted to sign up for.
Deep down, we both knew that we wanted to be doing what we loved, and that our time was, aligning with our passions in life. Yeah,
and our values.
Yep.
So fast forward, we got married. We were on staff with the campus ministry. Things were going fine. But we were having some health challenges. A few years into our marriage, we wanted to start a family, and we weren't able to get pregnant. We were having some other health issues. And so that is when I really started diving into, nutrition and this whole idea of changing our diet, eliminating processed foods, eating real foods. Jim kind of came along for the ride, kicking and screaming a little bit at the beginning, but he's a good sport, and he went along with me. But literally overnight, like once I started digging into this a little bit more, I just tossed everything we had in our pantry and in our fridge and our freezers, tossed all the processed foods, which was the majority of what we ate, because I was like a coupon queen and I could get all of our food for super, super cheap. But it was all very processed. And so anyways, we tossed all that, and I was like, all right, we got to start shopping at the farmer's market. We're going to only, eat on the perimeter of the grocery store, just meats and fruits and vegetables and all these really healthy things. That's what we're going to do. And so I got really excited about this and started exploring these options. And so we were shopping at the farmer's market. We were only eating these really healthy foods. And it was really, really eye-opening to us.
Yeah, we really learned a lot, grew a lot during that season, and we just started like diving in deep and just any ways that we could be educating ourselves. We started watching documentaries like Food Inc. and reading books like The Omnivore's Dilemma and a bunch of others that really just started shaping kind of our worldview around food and health, and really started to caused us to question just some of the systems in place around us, the grocery store system, conventional food and farming, and all these things, and just like what's really behind our food and food labels and ingredients and packaging and all these things and components really just started we questioned them. And the opposite end of what we found was that when we tried to source our food as locally as possible and went to farmers markets and local farms and things like that, like we found kind of the exact opposite. We found real people that really cared about, the health of us and the health of the land. And they were completely transparent. They'd invite us onto the very land that they're growing our food on and show us their practices and their techniques and let us help out and volunteer. And it was just like night and day, this difference once we really started to just kind of peel back the veil of the food system and see what's behind it, and then just really start trying to find local food instead.
Yeah, so our values around food were really shifting, but also our health was shifting. So we were overcoming some of the health challenges that we were experiencing, and it wasn't an overnight thing that we got pregnant, but after a few years of, we had a lot of healing to do, and so after a few years of really, being intentional about doing this, we did get pregnant with our first child and now have 4 healthy babies. And so just really saw amazing changes to our own health. Jim overcoming some, things himself. And it was just really, really a cool thing to experience the power that food can have on healing, and really experience that firsthand, and now experience just seeing our kids just be super healthy kind of with this foundation has been really, really cool.
Yeah. And so, alongside while some of that change is happening, our lifestyle is also just really changing. And so we sort of first got introduced to growing our own food through volunteering at local farms. We started volunteering at a local organic CSA. And then from there, we were like, well, we just want to learn how to grow this on our own. And so we took that back to our own home. We were living on a third of an acre suburban lot, and we wanted to just explore and grow as much food as we could there. And so we started like a whole little micro urban homestead on our third of an acre there, and we had backyard chickens, and we did beekeeping and gardening and planted fruit trees and bushes and things like that. And we eventually even moved our gardening to the front yard and had this whole front yard garden.
It was where there was the best sun. So,
yes. Yeah, and it worked. And so we just kind of dove in there and were growing as much food as we could on our third of an acre in the suburbs.
But at the same time, so we had transitioned from our work in campus ministry, and Jim had gotten a job that he actually was really, really excited about at a local university. Kind of, we thought this was his, dream job, and that he would be really excited and happy there. And so he was doing that, and we just kind of realized that it actually wasn't a great fit for him. And so it was more of a desk, behind a desk, on a computer sort of job, and he was just realizing, like, it's just not for me. Like, I want to be out in the field. I want to be doing with my hands and not just sitting behind a desk all day. And so we were kind of experiencing this tension of, we were really excited about all the things we had going on at home, and the things that we were learning and, doing. But he was spending the most of his days kind of just going to work and doing things that he wasn't really super excited about. And so we were experiencing this tension, and ultimately it kind of led us to, again, make this hard decision of him leaving his job, and us ultimately, through a few transitions, ending up where we are now.
And so ultimately we ended up buying a foreclosed 5-acre homestead, and we have just poured our heart and souls into this place, fixing it up, really bringing life back into the home and the land and the barn and the infrastructure, everything about it over these last couple of years. And so much of it has felt like chaos for us, but it's really the best kind of chaos we can imagine. It's the life that we dreamed of. We're all working and learning and schooling and living together here on this land, and it's awesome. And so we're trying to kind of max out the land as much as we can, not in a way that overtaxes it, but in a way that we can feed our family all year round, right here from the land that we live on.
From 5 acres.
From 5 acres. And so just to give you kind of an overview of what we have going on here on our land. So we have a family milk cow that we milk every single morning. So we get so many awesome dairy products from that, like butter and cheese and yogurt and ice cream. We also raise some cows for meat occasionally, and so that helps fill our freezer. And we rotationally graze our cows on our back field of pasture. And so every day we're moving them to a new paddock, and through that they're actually regenerating the land, bringing life back into the soil, and also getting peak nutrition. We have another area of our homestead that we call the 1/4 acre self-sufficient homestead garden. And so this is where we took some permaculture principles and basically designed this little 1/4 acre section of our land to grow a ton of food that feeds our family. And so there we grow some long rows of potatoes and corn and squash and beans, and we harvest those and store those, and those really store through the winter and feed our family all year round. We also have some big grassed alleyways that go through there where we pull chicken tractors, and we raise meat chickens in and raise enough of those each year to feed our family with a source of protein all year round. And we've also started establishing a lot of perennials here. So we have an orchard with over 30 fruit trees, and we've planted asparagus and rhubarb and berry bushes and some other herbs here that we can just continue to harvest year after year. And then we have our laying hen flock that free ranges around our property, and we get fresh eggs from every day.
Through that, we're able to grow about 80 to 90% of the food that feeds our family all year round, and especially with using some of what we grow to barter with other local farms to get some things that we don't have here. And so we're really able to grow the majority of the things that we need right here on our homestead or in our local community. So we are not perfect. We didn't grow up this way. We are constantly learning and failing and trying new things. But we just wanted to create a community here that kind of goes back to those points that we made at the beginning of doing hard things, kind of going against some of those societal norms and pressures, and just really living out our values and doing so in a way that's really intentional with the resources and dollars that we've been given. And so if homesteading on a budget and kind of living this life of intentionality and out your values is your thing, we'd love it if you would follow along and join us. And so thanks so much for stopping by the farmstead today, and we'll see you next time.